right, boys, here we go.
Come on. All right, boys, let's have some fun.
Hello, welcome to the Galbraith Report. Wow, NHL just gets better and better. We're well into playoff season now, and we're going to dissect the games. With me, former hockey player Jade Galbraith. Jade, welcome. Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, buddy. Good. I'm doing really good. It stopped snowing, and it looks like it's actually going to get to spring down here. So pretty happy right now.
Well,
very happy.
Well, I'm in the west of Scotland. It's lovely and sunny here, but there was a couple of mornings last week where I did have to scrape frost off the car, which is
goodness.
like really strange for this time of year. But well, they call it climate change.
Yeah, it snowed 2 feet in Fort McMurray. I think it was 50 centimeters in 2 days a couple days ago. So again, we're getting. But Alberta and April is the worst. It's so hot and cold that it's unbelievable. But looks like the long range is we're past it. So pretty pumped now.
What about that weekend of action? We'll get through all the games. What have you made of what you saw this weekend?
Yeah, wow. For the most part, other than like one or two series, it's awesome to watch. Even the teams that swept in 4 straight, even the battle level was it was really good. The games were close. It wasn't could have gone either way, but again, the cream rises to the top all the time. So.
I mean, you've played in a few playoff series through your career, Jade. A best of 7 series. What is that like compared to probably any other kind of hockey you've ever played?
It's crazy, man. I loved playoffs so much. Winning in the playoffs is so hard. Like you watch the regular season to the playoffs, and you ask any hockey person, even people that don't watch hockey a lot, it's way faster. It's like. We'll start with Tampa and Montreal. We'll get there, but that series, every time a puck is covered, it's a scrum. Guys are punching each other. I love watching the intensity because again, the regular season is you just go through the regular season, try not to be hurt, so you can have a chance to go for a run and win the Stanley Cup. So again, I'm so pumped to watch the playoffs this year. Again, I've watched more games this year than I've watched probably last 5 years combined. So I just really am getting back into loving, and especially the way the series are going. Like it's intense all the time. It's awesome. It's great to watch.
Right, we'll recap as we go then. You mentioned the Habs and the Bolts there. Tampa Bay Lightning against the Montreal Canadiens. And I think we said just before we started recording, this is the series of the round so far. Every game has been a 1-goal game. 4 games. The first 3 games of the 4 were decided in overtime. And even now, just talking about it, there's no way of knowing exactly how that's going to pan out. What did you make of the game 4 then?
It was intense. Again, I don't know if a lot of people realize that 2-0 lead in the playoffs should be a guaranteed victory. Like it should be something that everybody says 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey. But again, on the other hand, this is the playoffs. You're up 2 goals. It should be. It shocks me that teams come back, but that's just a testament to Tampa. They're down 2-0. And they score a late goal in the second period. If they get to the third period, Montreal gets to the third period, I think it's over. But the momentum they gave, and then they almost scored to tie it up with like 10, 15 seconds left. So I think it's going to go 7 games. They both have 11 goals for, 11 goals against. 3 out of 4 went to overtime, 3-2, pretty much it's been unbelievable series. Special teams has been pretty close. Montreal has a slight advantage right now in the power play penalty kills, but again, Kucherov's finally got a goal. Braden Point, if he can wake up and again, they're on him pretty hard. He's right on that line of putting Tampa over the top. Caulfield scored last game, which probably got the monkey off of his back. But again, it seems like it's special teams oriented, like 1 power play goal a game. It's just such a hard battle. It's just one of those things that it could go either way any game.
And of course, you've got Brandon Hagel, who got the Bolts' second goal, and then the game-winning goal later on. That's him 6-1 for the series. So he's hitting a hot streak as well.
You watch that guy. He is intense, man. That guy is nothing's phasing him. He is an absolute train out there. He never stops. He's always going. He's one speed all the time. And the guys at Tampa's feeding off him. Montreal can't find a way to get to shut him down. He gets a puck off the chin to score the game-winning goal. Like, it's just one of those things that when things are going well, like you can see he's got 6 goals. Nobody even has, I think, 4. I think 3 is the next closest in the whole playoffs. So, like, that's something that again, Montreal can't just focus on one guy, but I would kind of try to keep an eye on, because guys like that, without even trying, will get bounces going for them. They're just really hot. Like, as a player, like, sometimes you everything you do just turns to gold. So again, I think they got to be harder on him. But other than that, in this series, like, I couldn't pick. If Tampa Bay, they're stars. If Kucherov and Point get going, I think Montreal's going to have a tough time. But if they can keep those guys locked down, I think Montreal could take it. But I think it's going 7. It's just one of those things. It's such a great series.
You talked about the Canadiens there. Joseph Slavkovsky got a hat-trick in Game 1, but nothing from him since. I mean, is he going to be holding that stick a little bit tighter, do you think, as the minutes go on?
So, again, a lot of people see Slavkovsky's 3 goals, blah, 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 but they scored 3 power play goals, and they were a minus in Game 1. Like, that's that line right now with Slavkovsky and Suzuki, and I think is it Caulfield? It might be Caulfield. I don't know. I forget, again, who's there, but that line has been minus. They've been great on the power play, but they've been minus most games. And like Marty St. Louis said, if those guys get going, it could turn really bad for Tampa. They just can't find the net. They can't find any sustained pressure. Like, their power play is great. They're running at 26%. That's anything around over 25, I think, is good, especially in the playoffs. That's 1 for 4. That's scoring, that's usually the norm. But again, they can't rely on the power play, especially when your top line is a minus and not producing 5-on-5. So I think that's something Montreal really needs to maybe even switch the lines up. Like, I don't know. I think you can't just keep going, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. So I think maybe switch one of the guys off the line, put Anderson up there. I think Anderson, after Game 1, has been useless lately too. He needs to maybe play with some other guys. And again, it's one of those things that the hardest thing as a coach is to change your lineup. Because, again, you think that your game plan isn't being followed if you're losing. It's not necessarily that way. So I think Marty St. Louis is a hell of a coach. He knows the game inside and out. I think you could see maybe next game, maybe just 1 or 2 little tweaks in the lineup. And I think if they do that, it throws something else at Tampa, right? Again, it's all about line matching. This whole series has been back and forth line matching. You should see it. Guys are having 5-second shifts. It's pretty crazy how they want to get home ice advantage. They're really trying to use that. So, again, maybe if they switch up the lines a bit, Montreal, Tampa won't be will be kind of having to take the lesser of 2 evils. So, anyway, I think if their first line either switches up or starts to get on the game sheet and produces a bit, I think Montreal could take the series. But right now, I don't know. It's so close, too close.
Right, before we move on to the next game, we should say, for full disclosure, it's as we're recording, it's 6:00 p.m. Monday here where I am. So that's roughly, what's that?
11 a.m.
11 o'clock, 11 a.m. where you are, Jade. Okay. So there's still games to come. By the time you hear this, we might have moved on a little bit. So let's go on to the next game. Let's pull that Band-Aid, as you guys call it. We call it a plaster. The Boston Bruins, my goodness. My goodness. 6-1 defeat to the Buffalo Sabres on Sunday. Sabres leading 3-1 in the series. I have to say, I watched that game. I'm a Bruins fan. My God, that was dreadful. What an utterly terrible performance. So many things have gone wrong in this series for the Bruins so far. Take nothing away from the Sabres. I think it's easy for me to focus on the Bruins' failings. Let's talk positively about the Sabres. They've done great things all season. Guys like Tage Thompson have really stepped up. Lindy Ruff in for his Jack Adams Award, the first time since 2006. That would be quite the achievement for him. But all in all, they were absolutely superb, the Sabres. And yeah, I was fairly confident the Bruins might get through the first round, maybe not the second round, but as it stands, I don't think they've got a hope in Game 5.
No, the thing about that is a funny thing is you score 6 goals in a game and you're up, like we were chatting during the game. You said you were all happy and pumped to watch the game, and
I was suicidal, mate. I was suicidal.
Yeah, well, I was out. I wasn't watching the first.
Really.
I had something going on, and then next thing you know, I get a text and it's 5-0. Right away, 4-0 after the first 10 minutes. So
that's right.
That for me says one of two things: says the coaches aren't getting the players ready, or the players are just not ready. And I think again, Marco Sturm, again. He's been in the NHL for years, played Boston forever, like a legend there. I think I don't know. He hasn't been there very long, so it's tough to come into an organization. He's been in the Boston organization, but to come and to be a head coach with a team going into the playoffs, he's still defining his coaching style. The players are. It's just really, it's a tough situation. I don't want to take anything away from Buffalo, but again, it just, they just look out of sorts. I went and watched the highlights of it, and it just seems like Boston is always a step behind. They're letting Buffalo get behind them. They're getting better body position on pucks. They're cycling better. Boston gets no sustained offensive pressure. The only goal they scored was a shorthanded goal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But on the other side of things is Buffalo scored all 6 were even strength. So that's another thing is, that just shows me that Boston is just, they just didn't seem interested. They seemed really, especially at home. Like, how do you get blown out at home like that, 4-0 after the first 10? Like, wow. Again, after that just shows me that they're just not into it. Again, it's over. I can't see Boston coming back. Maybe they, sack up and show Buffalo that they, have some heart or whatever. But I just think Buffalo, they're just doing all the right things right now. Boston is really having a tough time getting any offensive. Their shots are always from the outside. Lions getting nothing, no grade A's really. Again, as an NHL goalie, if you're getting pucks from the outside shot at you, you're going to win games. You're that like that. Their goalies in the NHL are so good. You need rebounds. You need pass off pads. You need traffic. You need grade A's, and you need power play. To throw a goal in here and there. But again, can't take anything away from Buffalo. They're steamrolling, but Boston again. I love Boston too as well. But that. To me, if they don't come out in the first 5 minutes of the next game and are dominating, it's the series is over. It's going to be,
But that's it. I mean, just talk about the collapse in the first period of Game 4. They also collapsed in Game 1 as well. You might remember it was one of those games that just got away from them, and as soon as that momentum's gone, it's really hard to get back. Did you see the clip of Jeremy Swayman? He get replaced with about 13 minutes to go. Korpisalo came on and he had a go at somebody, or he had a go at everybody. I think Marco Sturm was on board with that, just showing that little bit of passion. Maybe that's what Boston need at this stage in the series.
Exactly. They have to have something. Again, I bet you they had a come to Jesus moment in the room after that game. I guarantee either a player meeting or definitely coaches went in there because at home laying an egg. The series, it was 2-1. The series wasn't over. It wasn't 3-0. Like, you're at home to tie the series up and you come out that flat. Like, that is something that it's not like Boston to do that. Like, Boston is grit. They grind. They're always, they never give up. And it just seemed like 5-10 minutes into the game, 4-0. Like, that just seems to me that it's uncharacteristic of Boston. And I think they will come out. I think they're going to give Buffalo a game. But again, I don't know if they have enough to take the series. But it'd just be nice to see some, kickback, see some effort, some pride, and maybe pull one out next game. But again, it's just Buffalo. They're just playing really well. And again, when the team's playing really well, it's, you can talk all you want about effort and systems and all that stuff. But when a team's playing that good, scoring even strength like they are. They got a great power play too. Like it just seems like might be a little bit a hill too high to climb. So again, I hope Boston at least comes back and gives it a game in Game 5. But again, I can't see them taking the series. But again, this is the playoffs. You never know, right? You just never know.
Right, let's head to Carolina and Ottawa. That series is over. The Canes swept them 4-0. You called it in the shorter episode we did to start off. You fancied the Canes for the Cup. Has that helped reinforce your prediction?
Again, with the way Tampa and Montreal are playing, like either one of those teams would give Carolina a series as well. So I just Ottawa, they're just not ready yet. I think their game just to me just seems really weird. Like at times, you ask any teams when you play a certain team, you're always like, well, it just seems weird to play them. And whenever I watch Ottawa, like again, they battled to make the playoffs. I give them a ton of credit to get there, but again, getting to the playoffs and playing Carolina. I was talking with my dad about playoff hockey. Playoff hockey is a total grind. It is an absolute battle. Every 7-game series, and you got to do it 4 times. It's the hardest cup to win in the world because it's all 7-game series. Mm-hmm. And the way hockey is physical, and it's really hard. So Carolina plays the same way in the regular season as they do in the playoffs. They do the same things. Rod Brind'Amour is top 3 coaches, I think, in the NHL because he gets his players to play for him. He's behind the scenes, he's one of the nicest guys. He will always back his players, and the players love playing for him. So not to say the GM hasn't done a good job. The players they have are playoff players, 100%. And now the Freddie Anderson, again, I haven't been sold on him. I think he could get to the next level, but like I said before, if Carolina doesn't win the Cup this year, it's going to be dismantled and they're going to have to go another way. But I just think Ottawa didn't have a chance. And everybody says about the scores, how they were close and this and that, but really they weren't close. It wasn't close. The puck time on possession wasn't even close. Carolina, that's the way they play. So when you see a score, you think, oh, well, it was closer than you think. No, they win every single aspect of the game, and they've been doing it for years. I just, I'm not a big fan of Carolina, right? Again, they're not flashy, stuff like that. But I do respect what they're doing and what they've done in the past 5-6 years. It's just moving forward. I knew Ottawa was going to get roasted. I shouldn't say sweep, but you never want to say that. But I knew that Ottawa would have a really, really tough time. So now Carolina gets days off. They get healthy. Again, it's one of those things that whoever has Carolina next round, it's going to be, as the looks of it, it's probably going to be Philly. And no offense. And my Uncle Brett, I got to say a shout out to him. He is the biggest Philadelphia Flyers fan in the history of the world. He always thinks that they're going to win and they're going to do it. He's the most, positive guy for his team. So we were talking about Philly and the Pens, which we'll go into after this. But I just think Philly is in a world of hurt when they play Carolina because I think Carolina's primed.
The interesting thing about the game on Saturday, having watched it, was the penalty trouble that the Canes got into, particularly in the second period. It got a little bit bad-tempered at times. It got a bit feisty. Some hits were going in. Other players were getting involved. I think there was 1 or 2 calls there that were maybe borderline, and you could see the look on Brind'Amour's face. He wasn't overly enamoured with the officiating and a couple of things as well. But you're an ex-player. You can maybe provide some insight into the mindset here. You're in a series. You're 3-0 down. You're fighting for your life in Game 4. The first goal goes against you. What does that do psychologically when you're in a battle like that? You lose the first goal. Am I right in saying you start to think, you maybe start feeling deflated that the mountain's just got a hell of a lot higher?
I'd like to say that, as a professional player, you can let that stuff go, but 100% you're down 3-0. You're battling hard. You're giving your effort, and then a goal goes in against you. I'd like to say that, that you can just shake it off, but you're right. It kills you inside. And then at points you're trying harder the next shift. You're doing things that you normally wouldn't do. You're thinking that you got to help somebody because you're just trying to do everything. And these guys, like, they're professionals. They're trying to do everything. Believe me, when you lose 4 straight, you got to give Ottawa credit. They battled so hard. They did. Yep. As a team, some teams are just better. Like, it's just the way they are, the structure, the coaching. The players are a little bit better. They're do their system better. There's so many things that you can look at for a team to be a better team. But like points during the season, you knew Carolina was tops, whatever. But that, yes, as a player, you want to try so hard to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Like, you'll do somebody else's job. You'll go try to, and when you do somebody else's job or try to help them, you're taking away from your job, which means that your guy's going to be open. And it's such a fine line. You want to work so hard, and you're like, okay, we're down, we're not out of this, blah, blah, blah. But in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, it's, we can see the end coming. It sucks because everybody, I don't know, some players will probably say, well, I don't think that way. Well, again, maybe you don't think that way, but subconsciously you're like, okay. And that's the thing, when you say squeezing sticks, you're rushing plays because you think that, you need to score quickly. It's so much things like in your head are rolling around there. And again, it was just inevitable that Carolina was going to win the series. So, yeah. Ottawa was just, there's one of those things.
One last thing before we move on to the last game in the East. Logan Stankoven, how good has he been? 4 goals in 4 games. He seems to be a player that pops up in the key areas anytime there's an offensive threat. That's impressive to me. I think he's really stepped up for the Canes.
He was traded from Dallas to from the Rantanen trade. Because Rantanen left Carolina, it just didn't work out for him there.
Yeah.
And when he got traded for Rantanen, everybody was thinking, oh, he got traded, Dallas has given up on him, blah, blah, blah. That guy was a first-round draft pick. He was played in Kamloops. I liked his game. Like, right from he was 16 years old, I watched, highlights of that kid. And his offensive awareness is very, very good. It's elite. And I think some guys take a little bit longer to develop than other guys. Like, he can score goals. He's proven it everywhere. Now, NHL is the hardest league in the world for a reason. It is incredibly hard to score. You see some guys, they get 40, goals, blah, 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 30 goals. You know how friggin' hard that is? It's so hard. So, again, just finding – now, Brind'Amour is one of those guys that he's never going to give up on you. Never, ever, ever. And I guarantee he's been one of Stankoven's biggest supporters, just saying, keep at it, keep grinding. Good things will happen. And the thing about Carolina is he doesn't have to be the best guy. He doesn't have to be the star. He doesn't have to be, a 50-goal scorer, 100-point guy. He doesn't have to be like that. So I think he's starting to, relax a bit and just let his game come to him. And look what's happening. Like, he's like finding areas. He's not playing any different than he's played the last whatever many games that he played in the regular season either. It's just when you keep doing the right things, good things happen. Again, he's good in his own end, which is, not a knock on him, but he, as an offensive guy, you're usually cheating a little bit here and there. So I think on that side of things, I love his game. I think he could be 30 goals for sure. And on a Carolina team that is defense first, that's a hell of a highlight, a hell of a thing to be able to do. So I'm excited. That kid is going to even get better. I think next series he's going to even do more things. I just have a feeling that when a skilled guy starts to hit his stride, look out. And I think the sky's the limit, especially with how many weapons they have on that team as it is. I think he's fitting right in now.
Right, let's do the last game in the East then. It's the Flyers against the Penguins. It's currently 3-1 for the Flyers after 4 games. And I have to say, thank God the Penguins turned up, because up to Game 4, they have been dreadful. It's been devastating for my daughter. She's a big Penguins fan, so seeing the scores coming in, she wasn't too happy. But yeah, it needed a big performance in Game 4. They got it from Sid the Kid, of course. Sydney stepped up, goal and an assist. And they needed that. They needed someone to drag them by the scruff of the neck, and they've got the win, and they're still alive. That's the most important thing, isn't it?
So I bet on Crosby to score a goal, online betting. Again, I'm a degenerate gambler. I love betting on hockey, betting on, whatever.
Always
And
gamble carefully.
Yeah. So Sidney's my favorite player. Again, that guy, if you watch his game, you see the goals, you see this, but you don't see the positioning. You don't see the one-on-one battles. You don't see the fundamentals. Like, again, the guy's always in the right spot. His stick's always in the right position. And what I wanted to say about Philly Pens is other than Sid, even if you asked him, he probably would say, I wasn't as good as I needed to be. But why I found Pittsburgh won was Pittsburgh wasn't any better than Philly. Philly was I don't know, maybe a little nervous, whatever, but Philly played bad. Pens played bad. Seelovs, the goalie, who got a start, which I still to this day, the guy wins an AHL championship. The guy, like, every time I watch him, I don't watch a lot of Pens games, but every time I watch when he's in net, they get a win. Again, I get it. Skinner made it to the Stanley Cup Finals with Edmonton, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm down 2-0, I'm changing the goalie. No ifs, ands, or buts. And they waited till 3-0. I think Pens are done. They just, I don't know. Well, they just, this series is really bad. Like, again, I hate saying that, and I don't mean no disrespect to the players, but it's just ugly. Like, it's sloppy. It's turnover city. It's, it's just like, it's really, really like going from watching Tampa, Montreal to watching Philly Pens. Like, it's like AHL to NHL to me anyway. It was that slow. It just didn't look good. And I have to admit it. Seelovs played the way you got to play to win a playoff game. He stopped the ones you had to, and the other ones that went in where they had no chance, but he gave Pittsburgh a chance right off the bat. The two kind of partial breakaways, he's, again, I think if he has another game like that, Pittsburgh might be able to pull another game out. But if the Pens don't seriously up their game, it's over. And I think, I'd hate for Sid to lose and Malkin to lose out with a team effort like that. Yevgeny he's having a tough go. He looks his age. I just think he might be on his way out to maybe to KHL or whatever. But he's not the same guy. And I don't know if he's injured or something like that. He's just playoffs. You got to get up, and he just looks like he's got nothing left, and no emotion, no nothing. And it just seems disappointing, because I loved when Pittsburgh was winning cups and that, because he was an absolute beast. But again, you get old, it's harder to play. These young kids, it's fast. Like, it's one of those things. But I'm saying Philly's going to win the series 100%. But Seelovs, and if the Pens can maybe, get some emotion and stuff, Sid's going to have to be better again too. So it's one of those things. I just think Philly's. They're going to win. I just hope Pittsburgh makes it a series, and because again, I can't see the Pens being Malkin and Crosby much longer, so which will be sad. But anyway, it is what it is. It's one of those things that Philly's they're better. It's just a better team. Just
quickly, I want to talk about the technique in Sid's goal. He took the pass from Erik Karlsson. He just sort of nudged it forward, and Sid just swept it in. I don't think he was even looking at where the goal was. He just hit it, and suddenly the puck just flew into the net. I mean, as a forward, surely you can appreciate the technique behind that. It was almost like a Hail Mary, wasn't it?
Well, it was. It's called a downhill pass. So a lot of teams work on that. Edmonton started doing it. Tampa started doing it, where you lay a pass and you'll shoot it as the pass is coming. So I guarantee that was a set play. That I guarantee Sid practices that all the time. But again, it's hard. It's really, really hard to do, because the pass has to be not too fast, and it has to be, in an area where you're going to one time it. You're going to catch it and shoot it. And I guarantee it's called a downhill pass or downhill pass shot or whatever. It's very hard to do. That's why not a lot of teams do it, because again, the timing has to be perfect, the pass speed has to be perfect, and the puck positioning when you shoot the puck has to be perfect too. But if you can get it, the goalie, right? Vladar, he had no idea that he was going to shoot off that. So another thing about Philly is Vladar, I love him. When he was in Calgary, was one of those things. One of those things that 100% Vladar's played unbelievable, and I love him. I loved when he was in Calgary, and I think that, if Philly, after they beat the Pens, I think he has to play out of his mind to beat Carolina.
Right, quick one before we need to wrap up the East here. I want to get your thought on what happened in Game 3 with Sid, the embellishment call. Garnet Hathaway's stick kind of caught him.
Yeah,
it looked to me as though Sid made the most of it. You'll know far more about it than I ever will. What did you make of that?
100%. Again, the playoffs are so hard. Like any little call, they're going to embellish. Like when people say, "Oh, he's a baby," embellishes. If the shoe's on the other foot and you're the one that got hit, you're going to do the same thing. The games are so close that if you can get a power play out of something, you're going to do what you have to do. Right? Again, you hate seeing that. And again, I've embellished and I've called guys babies for doing it as well, and being the P word and all that stuff, calling them that, because we've all done it and we've all had it done to us. It's one of those things that in playoffs you have to find an edge. And next thing you know, if you embellish and you score on the power play, that other guy is so mad and the other team's mad because, it should have been a penalty. So it's psychological warfare out there. It's whatever I can do to get you off the game, I'm going to try to do. And again, if you have to embellish and the ref calls it, then, hey, there you go. It's one of those things that either way, if you embellish it, the ref can call you as well. So you take that chance. But I'd do anything I could do to get an advantage on the other team.
Right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back to talk about the West and a few other things as well. You're listening to the Galbraith Report. Welcome back to the Galbraith Report. I'm Craig Anderson with Jade Galbraith. We're going through what's happened over the NHL at the weekend in the playoffs. So we've covered the East. So let's go West, as the Village people once sang. What's been the standout game for you, Jade? We'll start there.
Well, again, Edmonton and the Ducks has been really good. Series close. Dallas, Minnesota has been unbelievable. Actually, all of them except, obviously Colorado and LA. Other than those, they've been really good series back and forth. Kind of weird though, which I'll get into when we get going here. But we could start with the Avs and the Kings kind of thing.
Let's do that one. Let's go then. Avs and the Kings. Congratulations, the Avs are in the next round of the playoffs. Let's start with the LA Kings though. Anze Kopitar, that's him. His career's over. What a career he's had though.
Wow, crazy, man. 20 years, same team, most points for LA, most games played. Again, from Slovenia, which is a smaller, country, former, like right around Czech and Republic and like in that little area there. Played with a few Slovenian guys in my career, but to be able to have a career that he has, or that he had 2 Stanley Cups, it's pretty amazing to see that, even as a Canadian, to have the things that he's accomplished is amazing. To be from Slovenia again is pretty remarkable feat. Just not known for being a hockey powerhouse. So love the way he played. He never cheated. He's always takes care, like just the 200-foot center, the guy that you want on your first line. There's not many guys that have been better at that position than him. So, again, Colorado just way too much for the Kings. Even though looking at their stats, their power play was under 10%, which is nuts. But when you think about it, they were 27th in the league, I think, in power play this year, and they were the amount of games. It's an anomaly, and I hate to be the team that plays against them next if they figure out their power play, because again, they can score every which way, 5-on-5 power play. Not so much these days, but if they turn it on, Natchez and McKinnon, those two, haven't been scoring. They've been getting points, but they haven't been scoring. McKinnon got one last night, but those two guys aren't scoring either. So just imagine when the powder keg, explodes, it's going to be, now again, that being said, if you can shut down the McKinnon line and keep their power play the way they are, you have a chance to beat them. So again, I figured they'd be all right against LA. LA's just a little young and a little old. They again, it's one of those things that same as Ottawa, same sort of thing. It's just they just didn't have nearly the bodies and nearly the skill and the total team game to be able to give them a series. So again, now Avs not sure who they're going to play yet, but again, it's one of those things. Avs, like you said, I can really see them going to the final. But again, it's so early.
The Kings, they changed their coach a couple of months back. Was just getting to the playoffs their achievement this year? They would have liked to have gone further, of course they would. But is even just getting to the postseason a successful? Well, yeah, would you say?
Yeah, well, definitely. They were the whole year. They were in they were in the not the wild card. They were actually in the top 3 in the division pretty much the whole year, and then they lost, I don't know, like 6 or 7 games in a row and made a coaching change. That whenever a coaching change happens, the team plays a little bit better, and it was smart because I don't know if they would have kept going the same way that if they would have made the playoffs. And again, it's just one of those things that they tailed off after the All-Star or the Olympic break. They just really. I just didn't see them getting any better, and a lot of teams were getting better, and they kind of stagnated. And again, just to get into the playoffs, that last playoff spot, playing the Avs, you're just like, again, if they get up one more spot, maybe they have a chance to get to the next round. But against Colorado, I just didn't see them. Barring an unbelievable performance from their goaltender, and just playing outside their capabilities, I didn't see them beating Colorado. Colorado's healthy. They're rolling right now. It's just one of those things that they ran into a buzzsaw there.
Just I mentioned him in the short podcast we did the other day. Scott Wedgwood, the Avs goalie, 96 saves out of 101 and a 95% save percentage in 4 games. I mean, they really stand out numbers.
Well, yeah, and again, like we said before, it's not like they outshot or outscored them a ton. The last game was the only game they really blew them out, and the other games were 2-1, 2-1 kind of thing. So I give the Kings, a lot of respect because they did battle, but on the other hand, is when you look at the score, it doesn't depict really how the series is going. LA really. Got their goalie played. LA's goalie played great. Wedgwood played unbelievable too, but. The Wedgwood thing is, lack of chances, grade A chances, like we talked about before. So I think LA played, as well as they really could have. They maybe could have got one out of the, first 3 games with the scores the way they were. But Colorado looks like they're getting better every game. Again, their power play still bad. 9.1%. That's just I can't even believe that. So again, that's the thing about Colorado is. McKinnon and H just have 1 goal between them. Their power play is 9.1%, and they sweep going to the next round. So that just shows you how much depth they have going up and down. McCarr's doing his thing as usual. Their D zone's really good. They have a lot of guys that are responsible back there. Lehkonen is a playoff just genius out there. He gets, I don't know, like 10, 15 goals a season. Unbelievable in the penalty kill, one of the best penalty killers in the league. And he's doing his thing in the playoffs again, as he always does. When they won the cup before, he was a big part of it. So they top to bottom, they have like the depth they have it's crazy. So again, I like you said, I think it'll be Avs. If I had to pick Avs, Carolina, but again, it's so early, you don't know.
No. And of course, the Avs will now play either Minnesota or Dallas in the next round. They last played on Saturday, went to overtime, 3-2 win for the Wild. That series is tied at 2-2. One player I really like, and I've seen him, I think I took notice of him during the Winter Olympics there, Matt Boldy. I just think that guy's got better and better, hasn't he?
You know what? I was funny you bring that up. Like his that line, like Kaprizov's probably my favorite player. I just love the way he plays. He's just one of those guys that I just see like really, really like a lot of potential with that kid, and he's already doing well. And to light it up like he is, with Minnesota, which is like not a big scoring team. They're usually good defensively, good systems. But Boldy playing with Kaprizov, Boldy's his hockey IQ and his hands and his he, like you said, he's somebody like I really never watched him very much. Again, Minnesota, I don't really watch him again, his regular season. I don't watch many games anyway, but I always see him with Kaprizov, and I was like, God, this guy. And then this playoffs, I've been watching him. He is one of the most skilled guys I've seen. Like his skill level is top 1%, I think, in the NHL right now. Like he is really showing me something. I'm glad that you picked up on that. That line right now is really going. But it's funny because Minnesota has been outshooting Dallas outscoring Dallas 14-11. Now Minnesota's power play 15%, and Minnesota's penalty kill 57%. Dallas has 35 shots per game to Minnesota's 33. Minnesota, other than the score, is losing almost in every stat that really you look at in the course of a 7-game series. And the fact that they're winning, that they're tied 2-2, it's Dallas. It's so funny. I always pick Dallas to make it a couple rounds. The way they are, they're big, they're physical. They got great power play. They're just a really solid team, top to bottom. Great goaltending too. But man, like for them to be 2-2, they must just be kicking themselves because again, they're leading in every stat that I've been trying to look at, other than goals, and they're down 3 goals against. That's crazy. Now, again, with that being said, Minnesota, they're always like one of those teams that they're never out of it. They're always grinding. They're always like the little engine that could kind of thing. You think that they're out of it, and then next thing you know, boom, they're winning. So again, one of those things. I think Dallas has to continue just grinding out what they're doing, and Minnesota, I think, has to be better at special teams to be able to take it. But I think it's going to go 7 again. It's just one of those series that's so close, but special teams hasn't been something that's shown a lot. Special teams, the person that's dominating on it right now, they're at 110 or almost 120, 15%. With 80, 120, 26%. So when you add the power play and penalty kill up, you want to be around 100 or 110 is great, but they're 120, and Minnesota's at 70 something. So you look at that and you think, how the heck is the series tied? But that's hockey. So again, 5-on-5, Minnesota's been doing it. Dallas has got to get a little bit better, 5-on-5 to take hold of the series. So
we talked earlier about how tight the series is between the Habs and the Bolts, and you look at this one. The last 2 games have gone to overtime. Game 3 was double overtime that went to. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. I was up early for work last week, and I happened to notice that game was still on. So I was making my breakfast while watching the end of that game.
Yeah. No, it's again, that's the thing is Dallas is so good. Minnesota, like when I saw that, I really thought that the series was going to go 6 or 7 for sure. I thought Dallas had a little bit more, but Minnesota's showing me something. Again, like I said, the stats aren't showing Minnesota as in the series, but again, you can't, like, it doesn't really matter, right? Again, you can have the worst stats and still win a series. So that's something that Dallas is probably like, God, we're doing right things. We're special teams. We're getting shots on net. But again, what does it matter if you're not scoring goals? So I think Dallas has got to.
Yeah, plus the fact that Wild came from behind, they were 2-1 down. And then Heichenen's late second period goal seemed to swing momentum their way as well, and it's just so huge momentum. I hear it all the time talking to coaches and players, doing in my line of work in the media. It's just such a huge thing, and when you can see it on the ice, and the other team maybe try and get it back, but they can't because it's too big of a swing.
Exactly. And funny you say that. It's during the overtime, Dallas tilted the ice right off the bat. They were all over Minnesota the first 10 minutes of the overtime, like all over them. Minnesota couldn't get the puck out. Dallas was cycling the puck so well. They were all over them. And the next thing you know, nothing happens. They don't get a goal. And then Minnesota slowly gets the puck deep, gets on them, and then Boldy gets a tip in at the end, which he had about 5 or 6 chances that last 5 minutes of overtime. And right then I'm like, if they get a goal, if obviously if they score, they're winning the game. But I said to myself, if Dallas can get out of this overtime, they might have a chance. But Minnesota, they scored with 30 seconds to go, and you could just see it. Momentum's crazy. As a commentator like you just see that and you just think, wow, they're coming. And then, you know what I mean? You're like, I could see a goal. And then what happens? It is funny. Like, momentum is a crazy thing, and it can change like that in a blink of an eye. And Dallas was doing the right things, but like every color guy, like, you need that game-breaking guy. And Dallas right now is just hanging on. They need to get some 2 or 3 goal leads. They got to, they got it. Well, obviously they have to score more to win, but I'll tell you right now, their game breakers need to start to show something, because Minnesota, if they're hanging in there, they can do some damage. So Dallas, I think, has to, right off the bat, dominate like that. They can. If they can let Minnesota stay in it, I think that Minnesota could win the series if Dallas doesn't, have its top guys in power play, penalty kill, keep rolling there. So again, I'm pulling for Minnesota. I really am, but I just think Dallas has too much.
Next game, Anaheim against Edmonton. Edmonton have been the finalists in the last 2 years. They've lost to Florida both years. I think there's a real feeling they might have gone far this year, but they're trailing 3-1 in the series to the Ducks. The Ducks haven't been in the playoffs since 2018. These 4 games so far have been an absolute goals fest, and the latest one, 4-3 in overtime for the Ducks, ended with it needed a review. What did you make of that one?
Again, the way that it went, the goal. Everybody's been messaging me. So excuse me. Everybody's been messaging me or talking about the game and saying, because the ref has to call a goal or not goal.
Yeah.
Right. So they didn't call anything. So they went upstairs, and it went over the goal line. You couldn't conclusively see the whole puck, but the way where it was, the positioning, of course, it was over the goal line. It was a goal. But on the other, Edmonton definitely has a reason to call the refs out on what they did. Is they never definitively said it's a goal or no goal. So I get their side of things too. Nobody's perfect. I love. I really don't like reviews very much. I think it takes away from the human error. I like when a ref makes a bad call, because then another team, they have to battle through it. Again, you're not going to have a perfect call all the time. I yell at refs all the time, whether they make a good call or bad call. But again, the human error makes sports great, because one little missed call tests your mettle. It tests you and says it now. Edmonton got screwed on the goal, whether you believe it or not believe it. Now we see what they're like. We will see if they have the heart and if they can shake it off. Now, I called the Ducks to win the series. Edmonton's window's closed. I think just the way their team is just it's too like I said, they always blame it on the goalies. We don't have a good goalie, blah blah blah. Every year it's about the goalie. Well, I'll tell you right now, their defense is not good. They don't have heads on swivels. They don't have skates up ice. Little things. They don't have sticks in lanes. Like Anaheim's passing through them like they're not even standing there. And that's something that you watch Colorado. Their sticks are always in lanes. It's impossible to go east-west. It's just so hard to those good teams that have good fundamentals. Edmonton seems like they have 2 hands on their stick in the D zone. I've been a big person on talking about Edmonton's defense. They can score goals, but they cannot stop them. I don't know if it's coaching, or I don't know if they just don't give a shit in the D zone. I just know that Anaheim is scoring 5 goals a game, and realistically, Edmonton could be winning the series 3-1 as well. It's just the defensive awareness on this team from top to bottom is, we don't care. We can score 4 goals, but like they got away with it last year, the last 2 years getting the cup final, winning 5-4 every time. They don't have it anymore. Teams are now figuring out. Now, again, I was looking at this. The Ducks have 20 goals. Edmonton has 15. Mm-hmm. So that's 5. What is that? 4 or 5 goals a game. So Edmonton's got what, 3.5, 4, whatever.
I worked it out on average in the 4 games so far, 8.75 goals per game. So if you're getting tickets for these games, you're certainly getting your money's worth.
Yeah. Well, again, I took the over/under on Edmonton almost every game, and you're good doing it. Like if that's something, if somebody wants to bet on the Oilers, just take the Oilers game just on and over, and you're going to win 90% of your games. Now, what I also was looking at is the Ducks' power play is 50%. Okay, Edmonton has probably the best power play in the NHL. They do. It's just they move. They do things that you can't defend. It's just so hard. Their power play is 30%. Right, so the PK for Edmonton is 50%. That is just disgusting. That's if they get four power plays a game, they're scoring 2 goals just off their power play. Right, like that's something that again, Edmonton's got 30% power play, and they're still, it's just one of those things. They're easy to play against. The forwards really aren't laying the body on the Ducks D. The Ducks are bigger, heavier team. So again, it just seems like they love playing in the offense, but you make your money playing in the defensive end. And again, I'm saying that as a person that never played in the D zone. I was lazy. I never came back. I was bad in the D zone. But in the playoffs, like you have to change some things up. And I just really feel like Edmonton, the management, is just let that city down, because if they have some hard-nosed defensive defensemen that play in the D zone first. Again, they could have won at least one of the Stanley Cups the last 2 years, but they just refuse to bring in non-offensive players on that team. You don't need 18 offensive guys. You have 2 that'll get you 3 goals a game. If you have all the rest of your players not scoring a single goal, you're going to win games because they're going to take care of their own end. And that's the thing, is you should be ashamed. Like, I just can't believe year after year after year, they're the worst defensive team. They give up so many goals, and it's top to bottom. You've got to buy in sometime. And I wish Edmonton would win. I can't see it happening. And the Ducks, are doing the things they need to do. And whether or not Edmonton, got shafted the last, either way, it's a moot point for me, because I think Edmonton's not going to change anytime soon.
Right, I'm going to go out on a limb here. You don't fancy Edmonton then to pull it back in this series?
What bothers me, you know what? To tell you the truth, they could probably win the next 2 games and go to Game 7, but they cannot sustain the way they play in the D zone. They just can't sustain it to in a 7-game series to beat and the Ducks aren't playing better. They're just, they're getting way more offensive opportunities because of the way the D zone is being worked, and that's something I just can't see Edmonton coming back from that.
Fair enough. Right, so the winners of that series will come up against Utah Mammoth or Vegas Golden Knights. Now, they didn't play over the weekend. They last played on Friday. So as we speak, their Game 4 will be in a few hours' time. The Utah Mammoth lead 2-1 in the series so far. Vegas have kind of dropped the last couple of games. So would this be a big shock if Mammoth were to make it through at the expense of the Golden Knights?
Okay, so remember I was telling you we were talking about Dallas and Minnesota, how Dallas is winning in every stat. Yeah. Vegas is doing the same thing against Utah. Right. They other than goals, their shots, 28 shots per game, Mammoth 24. 22% power play, 83% penalty kill to 17% to 78 for Utah. So again, one of those things is Utah scoring 5-on-5. I say such special teams, usually time on attack and special teams will decide the winner. But these 2 series is Dallas and then the Vegas Utah. I love it because it's not the norm. The team that's generating a little bit more special teams and more shots. Now I hate shot stat. I hate the shots on goal stat because getting a shot from a terrible angle might ruin your momentum. And that's something that, again, shots on net for me when I coach or when I talk to kids is a shot on net isn't a good thing all the time. Having possession and grinding them down by cycling will do more in the span of a game than just shooting a bad angle shot or a shot that the goalie can see you're never going to score and they get a whistle to stop the other team's momentum. It's one of those things that I don't look at the shots per se, but again, Utah is doing what they need to do. They're shutting Vegas down. Vegas isn't getting their big name guys going right now. It's really nice to see, especially new franchise. That doesn't really mean anything to me. But the fact that they've gotten so many fans, it's just a great atmosphere. I think they're riding high on that momentum from their fans and whatnot. But I think whoever wins this game tonight, whether it be Utah or Vegas, I think whoever wins tonight will win the series just because Vegas ties it up. I think their experience will come through, but Utah gets up 3-1. I don't think that they're relinquishing that. So again, I think it's a crazy, those teams are, for me, I see Vegas a little bit, but Utah, really haven't watched them a lot this year, but I really like it. They're young. They work hard. They do the right things. They play a great system, well coached. So that's something that I'll definitely be watching that game tonight. So,
of course, going back to the regular season, with 8 games to go, Vegas swapped their coach. Bruce Cassidy was let go. John Tortorella came in, a man with many, many years of experience, which seemed like a bit of a gamble. There seemed to be a bounce from that because they flew straight into the playoffs on the back of that. I think they were concerned they were going to lose that playoff status, and they're consistently in the postseason. But I don't know if it's maybe dropped off a little bit. We have an expression in football, the new manager bounce, or the new coach bounce, if you want to call it that. Is that maybe wearing off a little bit? Is that maybe a concern?
So the same thing, right, in Los Angeles, right? They got a new coach. They started winning. They made the last playoff spot. Vegas was dipping a bit too. They made a change. They started winning again. But that's just a Band-Aid on cancer half the time, right? Again, bringing a new coach in, it's hard because the system, he might want to change something. Now, when you're doing that, you get only 5-6 games or whenever they brought those coaches in, the team has to adapt quick. Now, Vegas has very smart players. They're all they have a very experienced team. They're there every year. They're a well-oiled machine, and I know a new coach wouldn't really bother them because they're really, really good hockey IQ. They top to bottom. They just get it, right? They have great veteran leadership with Stone. Stone's one of those guys you could throw him anywhere, and any team, anytime. He's just one of those guys that can adapt to anything. He's a chameleon. So. But again, that being said, is Vegas is really shutting down their top guys, and that's something that when as a team and you see your top guys not producing, right? Then the lower end guys, the second line, they think that they have to go and cheat a little bit more to try to get offensive. And then even the third line's the hardest line in hockey. Because you need to chip in, but you have to not be a minus. Like it's so hard to play third line at the NHL just because the expectations. You're a first line guy, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, if you have a good game, great. If you have a bad game, you're going to be staying there for the most part. But the third line, you go to fourth line so quick. So I think Vegas is third line, third, fourth line. They're doing well, and that's the thing is Vegas needs to get their top guys going. But Utah, they've given up 8 goals in 3 games. That's great against Vegas. Vegas can score, and that's the thing that was for me was limiting Vegas to not a lot of chances, not 4 goals, 3-4 goals. They're doing really well at shutting down Vegas's top guys. So if they continue that, Vegas I don't think has a third and fourth line that can really outplay Utah's third and fourth line. So that's something that I think if Utah can continue this, if they win the next game, it's over. Vegas wins with a good performance from their top guys. I think that Vegas would come back and win the series. But again, I love it. It's such a battle right now. Not a lot of goals. Just I like that. That's playoff hockey.
So that's it. 14 teams remain. LA Kings and Ottawa Senators are gone. So there is 14. 2 games are happening tonight. That's Monday, as we said earlier. We're recording on the Monday, so that's Utah against Vegas. It's game 4, and Flyers against the Penguins in the East, game 5. So lots to go, but we'll cover that later on in the week. Right, so the Galbraith report. This was something you wanted to talk about, Jade, something quite close to your heart now. We're going to devote a little bit of time to this. Mental health is obviously a big thing. Not enough men talk about it. In many regards, it's a taboo subject. Your dad's just written a book. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So anyway, not a lot of people know about my career. They know I partied and all that stuff, but again, I masked a lot of my childhood trauma that I went through. And again, mental health. I always was one of the guys, like not being a manly man, but I didn't want to talk about my feelings. I didn't want to do any of that. And again, I'm still, not really good at that, but I've been trying to get better at that. But my father as well went through some trauma at a young age as well. And so everybody, goes through their dealing with their trauma different. I don't disagree or agree with any way anybody wants to do it. You got to do what you got to do to get over it, no matter how you do it. But he ended up writing a book. He wrote a couple books here. It's called Water Your Lawn. You can find it on Amazon and the other whatever the other bookstores or whatever they're on. He has a website called www.wateryourlawn.ca. He just goes into what happened to him and how he is dealing with it. And again, some people can't talk about it. Some people need to talk about it, or he just found that he needed to write it all down to make it easier on him. So again, a great read. It's pretty graphic. It's one of those things that you wouldn't wish on anybody. It's just again, mental health, especially with the kids nowadays with social media and having to go through life in today's age it's so hard. I don't know what I would do if I had to go through what I went through in this day and age. It's everything's under a microscope, and it's bullied and all that stuff. These kids really, really have a lot of stuff they have to deal with that we never had to. So again, I wanted to just bring that up just because, again, it's one of those things, especially with athletes as well, dealing with, not even just the pressures of, playoffs. You lose, you might not get a contract. You might get a healthy scratch. It's just one of those things that it's really stressful playing hockey. I always say it's the easiest hard job you'll ever have, because it's easy. And in fact, you don't have to work a lot. It's great money, all of that side. But on the other side there's so much pressure that it can really get you down and get you in a bad headspace. So again, any way that you can, figure out a way to get through life is something that, I fight with mental health all the time. And, is one of those things that I'm finally starting to deal with it, and the book helped me, and I know it would help other people. So again, that's something that I kind of wanted to bring up, just because again, you as well, Craig, probably hear a lot about it, having a younger daughter going to school and whatnot, and so again, I'm up for anybody getting help any way they need to. If this helps you, great. If it's not your bag of fruit, then it's just good to get this stuff out there so people have options. So my dad Dale Galbraith wrote that, so I just wanted to let people know that there is help, and to go find it any way you can.
So just finally, again, give us the title of the book and the website again.
Yep, Water Your Lawn, Dale Galbraith, www.wateryourlawn, all one word.ca.
Yep, definitely. Check it out. Mental health is always a very important issue. We've all had our brushes with it in some way, shape or form. So it's a great way to check something out and seek help. Always talk as well. That's always very important. Right, we're just about to wrap it up, Jade. Our first full episode. How do you feel after that?
Great, buddy. Again, I love getting back and doing this. I love talking hockey. So, and we haven't talked in a while here. So it's nice to get back and build our relationship back up and maybe get a few people to listen.
Yeah, good. Well, that's all from the NHL. We'll recap more of it later in the week. We'll talk about other stuff as well, I'm sure. But thank you so much for listening. This is the Galbraith Report. If you liked it, subscribe. If you didn't like it, well, we tried. We're not going to hold any grudges. How's your week looking, Jade? What are you up to this week?
Nothing much. Just working, hockey skills, stuff like that. Yep. Just it's starting to get nice here finally, so I'm gonna get out there and swing the clubs here a bit. But other than that, just watching hockey. Being a bum, not doing much.
And I'll spend most of my day tomorrow putting this together. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Well, again, thanks for listening. You can subscribe to us across your favourite podcast provider. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening, and we hope to have you on board again soon. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye for now.